The My Ford University podcast, episode 34. We're going to talk about marketing 4Ps today. Welcome, colleagues. George Sloan, founder indeed of My Ford University. This is another episode of the My Ford University podcast, the place where we skip the fluff, ditch the tuition bill, and go straight to what actually works in business, careers, and self-education. Today we're talking about something foundational. Something that gets overlooked because it sounds basic, but it's not. It's the 4Ps of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. If you don't understand and apply these four levers in your business, you're guessing, and guessing is a terrible strategy. So let's break it down the My Ford University way. We're going to use some real world logic, a no bullshit mindset, and a few questions that can help reshape how you grow your product, your service, or your offer. So, if you were a marketing major, you clearly were exposed to this. If you were an MBA candidate, you probably were exposed to this. This is a very core, foundational, functional approach. And the great thing about the marketing 4Ps, if you're looking to build a marketing plan, this is a big part of the backbone of that particular type of plan. So let's get into it. We'll explain the 4Ps a little bit. So you're saying, okay, what are the 4Ps? Product. This is what you're actually offering. Everything about the product goes in this category. Price. What you charge and how you position it. And there's a lot of strategy built into that, and we'll get to that. Place. How and where people buy it. You in stores, you doing direct. Everything about distribution goes into place. And finally, promotion. How they hear about it. That's one of the biggest parts of it, because if they don't know you exist or your product exists, you got a big problem. All right, so this model has been around for decades, and it's not really new, but it works because it focuses on what you can control. And let me say that again. It focuses on what you can control. You can't control everything, but certain things you can control, and that's what this is really where it shines. So that's effectively the key, is control. If you're failing, you can adjust any of these P's to help fix the problem. Marketing is not just advertising, it's engineering your offer across all four of these dimensions to maximize value and reduce friction. So let's hit each P one at a time. Product. Big question here is, what are you really selling? Most people think of their product as the thing they make, but the truth is you're selling an outcome, a transformation, a solution. I always like the example, I've heard it from time to time. People don't buy drills, to screw something into the wall or just to look good. They buy it to make a hole. Think about that. Let's go over a few ideas. No one wants a treadmill. They want to lose weight or improve their health. So it's about the outcome or the benefit. No one wants accounting software. They want peace of mind and time saved. No one wants your coaching program. They want clarity, progress, and/or a better life. You've got to get crystal clear on what your customer is actually buying. It doesn't matter what form it comes in. It only matters what it does. What does it do? So if you can't articulate the problem that your product solves or the desire it fulfills, you don't have a product, you have a hobby. Ask yourself, what job is my product being hired to do? What pain does it remove or result does it create? Why is it better than the alternatives? There's usually other alternatives, but maybe it's faster, maybe it's better, maybe it's cheaper. You've got to explain these things and go into detail. Again, they really don't care about the minutia of the features. They only care at the end of the day about the benefits. What does it do for them? What problem does it solve for them? What outcome or result does it deliver? Okay? Let's talk about price. What story does your price tell? And you're probably going, well, what do you mean? Your price is a positioning tool. It tells the customer what to expect. High price can mean luxury, exclusivity, or quality. Low price can mean value, simplicity, or get in fast. Okay? I always like to say, good things are seldom cheap and cheap things are seldom good. But sometimes there is, a low priced item can still solve the problem. But you need to think in terms of, what makes sense. Okay? What you really need to do is make sure that your price is aligned with your audience and the problem you're solving. All right, let's do some examples. I'm trying to think of some good ones here. All right, Apple charges a premium because it sells identity and experience, not just phones. Think about that. It's just a phone, but there's a little more baked into it. Walmart competes on volume and convenience. I don't know. Sometimes those lines are not very convenient. So it's always a low price focus with them. A consultant charging $5,000 per engagement better be solving a $50,000 problem. Think about that. People are willing to pay a lot of money if the problem is big enough and expensive enough and difficult enough for you to solve it. Don't price emotionally. Don't underprice because you're new or unsure. Price needs to be based on value. I always I think about this all the time, quite frankly, especially when it comes to a restaurant. You always have to ask yourself, for the price I paid, did I get a good value? Do I feel like I got ripped off? Or do I feel like I got something that, was a nice experience, great service, good food? Even if it's not a fancy place, you want to ask yourself, am I getting real value? Okay? All right. Remember, people don't always want cheap, they want worth it. When they're done, do they feel like they got a fair exchange of value for their money? These are things that you need to build into this. Place. Where do you show up? This is all about distribution and a little bit about fulfillment. Where can someone buy what you're offering? And is that where you can be expected to be found? Always think about where they are, especially when they have the problem. Are you selling? These are questions to ask now. Are you selling direct to consumer through a website? Are you going through retailers? Are you going via Amazon or, say, Etsy? Or you're going through a mobile app? Or is it face to face or at a live event? In some cases, it might be more than one. So, more channels can mean more complexity. Don't try to be everywhere, try to be in the right place. Be in the right place. Sometimes timing is everything when it comes to this. So, if your audience lives on LinkedIn, don't focus on TikTok. If they buy through email, don't waste time building social media empires. Meet them where they are. Okay? Promotion. How do they find you? This is the piece that most people focus on and often get wrong. Promotion isn't just about ads, it's about the right message to the right audience in the right place at the right time. I hinted at that before. Your job is to craft a message that resonates with your audience's pain points and desires and makes them feel like this was made for me. I truly believe that you have to put yourself in the shoes of your customer and you always have to focus on the end outcome result that you're going to deliver. If their problem is big enough and you can come up with a solution that makes sense and seems like it's a good value, you've got the sale. So here are some tactics that are included in this particular approach. You know, social media, you can't go really wrong with that for a lot of things these days. Email campaigns, content marketing, doing paid ads. I kind of hope that more people would do organic growth because you want to make sure you're getting the right people. You don't want to just shotgun it. You want to do a rifle shot. You want to hit a very specific target and paid ads, I sometimes feel like you might be dealing with just a scatter shot. Influencer or affiliate partnerships, and of course, public relations. You know, tactics don't work if the offer sucks. Keep that in mind. I mean, yeah, you'll be able to sell some, but people are going to catch on. Make sure that you have a solid offer that provides value to them and a profit to you. So if you're having an issue with your offer, fix your product, fix your price, and fix the place that you're going to be in first. Then amplify it with promotion. All right. Some common mistakes to avoid. I always like to talk about these. Here are a few traps that you want to steer clear of at all costs. Over promoting a weak product. Again, you'll make sales, but eventually it'll catch up to you and people say, this sucks. And by the way, there is a tested, known, long time theory. Good news doesn't travel very quickly, but bad news or bad reviews, they travel like lightning. So make sure that you're not over promoting a weak product. Make sure that product is solid, and then it'll start to promote itself. All right, another one, underpricing out of insecurity. You don't want to overprice, but at the same time, you don't want to give it away. Look at what the value is and make sure that the two equate. Selling in the wrong places. Again, you got to be in the right place at the right time, and they need to be in the right mindset. Ignoring the feedback loop. Everything we talk about at My Ford University, we always talk about the idea of maintaining a feedback loop. You want to test, iterate, improve, and rinse and repeat constantly. Should always be trying to make your product or service better than it was before. And the only way you're going to find that out is by talking to the people who are willing to spend their money on your product. There's no two ways about it. Marketing isn't a one-time thing. You need to revisit and refine your 4 Ps regularly. If your results are flat, one of your Ps is probably broken. Use the framework not just to build, but to diagnose and improve. And here's the thing. You can't just get honed in on one thing, because sometimes it'll work for a while and then it'll not be working anymore. Always be looking and checking, getting some feedback, and making sure that things are still on track. And if things start to slip, time to really take a deep dive and start doing some diagnosis and fix the problem. All right, give you a quick exercise. I would like you to audit your 4 Ps. Now, again, this could be about you as a job candidate or a employee that wants to get a promotion, or it could be about a small business person, or it could be about an entrepreneur. Any particular area that you're in, you can apply this. So take whatever you're currently offering, product, service, side hustle, full-time gig, and ask yourself this. 1. Product. Is it solving a real problem? And can I explain the value in one sentence? 2. Price. Is it priced in a way that makes sense for a customer and for me? Again, they've got to get value. You need to get profit, because if you're not making a profit, you're not going to be around, and the value will come to an end for them at some point if you're in a relationship situation as opposed to purely transactional. 3, place. Am I selling in the places that my ideal buyer is already there? You always want to be in the right place at the right time. The old joke of selling ice to Eskimos, you're probably not going to provide too much value because there's plenty of ice there. But going and getting ice cold water and selling ice cold water in a desert, you're going to have a booming business because it's going to be high demand. You're going to be in the right place at the right time. Number 4, promotion. Am I promoting in a way that gets the right people to pay attention? You want to get the right people. And sometimes, you might have to go indirectly. We'll get into, sales and go a little deeper on that. There's sometimes gatekeepers that you have to get through, or there's influencers, not social media influencers, but people who influence a buying decision in a company, for example. So always make sure you're promoting that gets to the right people. And again, sometimes it's not the end user that you have to promote to. Sometimes there's something known as a push strategy and a pull strategy. And sometimes you have to promote to an influencer in a company, or a end user and have them pull it through. So always think in terms of a couple different ways to go. Again, I'll go into that stuff in more detail in a future concept. All right, you should be using this quarterly, this audit. I would actually recommend maybe even monthly. It will help you course correct for sure, and you don't want to waste time and money. And this will help you save time and money if you're constantly using it as a tool to help you make better decisions on your marketing plans. All right, I'm going to do a quick one today. Some final thoughts. The 4 Ps of marketing aren't fancy, they aren't trendy, but they work. They've worked for decades because they're based on timeless principles of human behavior, value exchange, and clear thinking. Don't fall for the myth that marketing is just about flashy branding or a viral TikTok. Marketing is about engineering the offer and delivering it effectively. A big guy in social media circles these days is Alex Hormozy, and Hormozy has some books. And one of the things he talks about is make the offer so compelling, so much value, that they feel the buyer feels stupid not buying it. Think about that. Make the value so compelling that they feel silly not taking you up on the offer. So that'll be kind of the last thought I'll leave you with on that. So at My Ford University, we are trying to make you smarter, faster. We're not looking for you to memorize buzzwords. I'm not going to go too deep. I could go into the history of all this stuff, but at the end of the day, who really cares? What you need is what the framework is, how to use it, and get some results. So we're trying to make you think like a strategist, and the 4 Ps are a great way to start. All right. That's it for today's episode. If you found it useful, share it with someone who may be launching a product, building a business, or just trying to figure out how to sell smarter or try to get a promotion or a new job, especially in this economy. Please don't keep us a secret. So if you want to learn more, please visit myforduniversity.com because, again, there's all sorts of concepts, frameworks, models, strategies that are available, and there's more coming. So until next time, think hard, move fast, and apply what you learn. Come to myforduniversity.com where you learn it fast and apply it faster. Thank you.